Hi, my name is Vicky Owens. I'm the owner of the UK's leading virality agency, and this is my business plan. I've got to start with me in the middle because I'm the centre of everything. First source of income that I have, the first one that I started, and my biggest source of income is my agency, Socially Speaking Media. This earns me about 50% of my income. This comes through management for clients. So we will manage people's social media, we'll teach them how to go viral. We've worked with huge brands on this. So we've got Sky, Netflix, and what I've found is the more of these big brands that we work with, the more that we attract other big brands. We do the management side. This is also where I have to manage the team, so I've got to pay salaries. So I would say this side makes a lot of money, but also we have a lot of outgoings as well. Earnings mostly comes from management, so that means that people will pay us on a monthly retainer, great for recurring revenue. We also have lots of meetings with clients. We go out on shoots. I would say for me, this is probably my easiest for recurring revenue, but probably my hardest to retain. People are very difficult to work with. That has been my biggest learning this year. I started this in 2021 when I had really bad panic attacks, couldn't leave the house, and I noticed there was a gap in the market at the time for social media management, even though now I feel like it's gotten a lot more popular over the years. I was charging people at the start just £100 a month, and we now charge £5,000 a month for the exact same thing. And I think that just goes to show how your value can increase over the years, and then also how our skills have grown over the years, but we were literally charging for the same amount of work. We went from doing basic social media management to virality management because I feel like there's been a massive boom over the past few years with people managing social media, but not many of them understand how to go viral. So once we started to introduce that, there was more demand for it, which meant that we could increase prices as well. And then we'll also do masterclasses, which we can go into in a little bit. I made my first hire only a couple months into doing the business, probably about 6 months in. It was actually my sister. There's always a lot of debate about whether you should work with family, whether they're good to work with, whether they're not. I personally have loved working with family. I think you can have honest conversations with them, and I think they also respect what it's like to work in a startup. So at the start, they know you've not got loads of cash to burn, like they are literally there to work on the vision with you. So we've done my sister. I've got my fiance now who works for me as well, and I think you can trust them more than anything. So I would say massive advocate for hiring family. Over the past few years, we've worked with 175 different businesses on retainer. Some of them we've had for years, some of them will be more short term. I definitely think we had a higher churn rate at the start because we didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't really know what expectations to set, whereas now we're a lot better at retaining. And my biggest lesson over the past few years is how important retention is. We also put in place contracts, which was one of the best things that I ever did. I didn't work with contracts for at least the first 1 year to 2 years. So now we have a minimum 3 months in place, which is great for our finances, but also for the clients as well. So we do loads of prep in the first month. In the second month, we're doing more of the sort of seeing what works best. We're scanning the data through. Then by month 3, we've got a really solid strategy in place. We've got a 3-month contract. We also added up recently that since we started, we've had over 1,000 people inquire to work with us, but we've actually only taken on 20% of that. I think at the start, it's really easy to get excited and take anyone on. And I think you also do work with people at the start that you're not 100% aligned with just because you need the cash in the bank. But I think when you get further down the line, you do have more leeway to work with people who you think you'll really get on with, that'll be a great client that you can retain. So now that number sort of goes down every year, that 20%. Like now it's probably 5% of people that inquire to work with us because we want to get them really good results and we want to enjoy it as well. I think a lot of people forget that you've got to enjoy your job. That's the most important part. This is about 50% of what I bring in, but I would say I actually don't do a lot of this, so it just runs itself. I mean, my team runs it. I don't run it. So I manage the team, the check-ins, I'm very much in the loop. But in terms of doing the actual work, I've been able to pass that on, and that means that I can focus on the rest of my income streams. Second income stream we have, which is a newer one for me, is collabs and working with brands. So this brings in 20% of my earnings. This is a lot newer for me, and there's loads of debate online. Should business owners have a personal brand? Should they not have a personal brand? Always yes. I think this has opened the door to so many different opportunities. I mean, for me, me and I think I've got about 200,000 across platforms. Most that I've taken for a brand deal was around 5 figures, which is great. And I also get a couple of these in a month, which is amazing. Personal brand wise, what I do is I post daily. I share ins and outs of being a business owner. I think the main thing in how these two correlate is that I was speaking as an expert. That means that people massively trust me. So this means that we have an amazing close rate on our sales calls because I take the sales calls, which is very controversial. I think people think that I should have a salesperson in, I should have a closer, but because I do the sales calls, people already know me, like me, and trust me, so it makes it easier to close. In terms of content and what I post, it's a mixture between value, expert content, and I would say it's really honest and vulnerable content and being authentic. I would say a lot of people now are sort of finding the balance between how authentic should we be, because I think when you're too authentic and you're crying on camera, that has a lot of negative perceptions, and I definitely think that a lot of people have a perception of me as being quite weak and emotional, so I have had to tweak it a little bit in terms of how I come across. But working with brands is great, and there's also a crossover because a lot of the brands that will come to me through personal brand will also want to work with us for here as well. So this for me has been a great one this year, but it's also meant that I've had to sort of explain to my team, it might look like I'm just going to film a TikTok in my office, but it's actually one of the most important parts of my job. My biggest collab that, like I said, has done over the 5 figures was MailChimp, which I absolutely love doing. I think there's so much in doing a little warm up as you post the content. I think there's a really bad connotation with influencers that they'll just post about anything. But I think when they can see you naturally using it, then they'll want to buy into it and it makes it seem more authentic when you post. MailChimp was actually one of the first businesses that I started working with, so that was an easy win for me. 2016 is when I sort of fell in love with that, and I think that's why it really comes across as being so authentic. I actually started physically putting into place a personal brand in 2024. I grew 10,000 followers in 10 days, which was great from posting 3 times a day. I had no concept of what to charge brands at this time. I think one of my first collabs I charged £200 for, and now I've partnered with a talent agency, so they handle all of my collabs. So I feel like my USP as a personal brand is that I have the knowledge from my agency, which a lot of creators don't have. So I think that's definitely a reason why brands want to work with me, because I have that knowledge on how to go viral. Most viral videos I've done, well, I did one that got to 25 mil on trial reels. I had one of my first ones on TikTok that was at 3 mil, and then that came with press inquiries and getting into the press, which then led to more brand awareness. This year in particular, there's been a huge rise in business influencers, but I do think that people are starting to see the pros and cons of it. So I think, yes, it works well with this. Yes, it's great for collabs. It also means more eyes on you, more opinions on you. I also think that there's a lot that comes with being a young woman in business. Like, that opens up a lot of hate. And there has been times where I think, is this really worth it? But they truly could not exist without each other. There's a massive difference between having a personal account and a personal brand. So I had a personal account before, I've had one for years. It's where you post like pictures where you've been on holiday, you know, pictures with your family and your friends, your dog. But I think when you've got a personal brand, that is when you are going more into offering value to people. And it is really scary to make that jump from personal account to personal brand. But I think that's the reason why people can't crack a personal brand, because they're still posting personal account content. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I give to people when they want to start a personal brand and they want to make money from it and monetize it is think about what brands want to see. So like when I first started out my personal brand, it was very like selfish content. It was like day in the life content. My talent agency said to me, think about the brands you want to work with, what content do they want to see and how can they slot into it. So even working with MailChimp, you know, they would probably want to look at, am I showing videos of me working on my laptop, doing my emails so that they can easily slot into that. It's amazing to have 200,000 followers, but are they actually converting and making me any money? That's number 2, 20%. Next one we've got is speaking, which sort of goes hand in hand with personal brand. Without this, that wouldn't exist. And I think I've built up a really healthy ecosystem here where everything supports each other. Speaking is a tricky one. This brings in 10% of my income. I got into this, funnily enough, because I heard speaking pays really well and I love to speak. What I did was booked a content studio. I think it was about £50 for the hour. I pretended to be a speaker. No words came out, just got some B-roll, spoke to the wall, and then I posted posted it and said, I'm a speaker, book me for speaking. And I got booked for speaking. The one downside I would say about speaking is you've got to do a lot of work for free, which we don't like to do. The more you speak, the more you get recognized as a speaker. So that one for me was a little bit tedious. Still trying to break into it, but you do get paid pretty well for this. So usually I would get paid anywhere from £3,000 upwards for speaking. I would speak usually about either socials, social media, managing a Gen Z team, because it's a topic that a lot of businesses like to know about. This one has been really, really good at establishing me as an industry leader. I remember one of the first stages I actually spoke on, they said, you're one of the best speakers that we've ever booked, which I was very, very surprised at. And I think I spoke on that stage for £90. I recently had a pinch me moment with speaking. So I'm a member of the PSA, the Public Speaking Association. We got invited to a massive award show recently that had all the best speakers in the UK and the best bookers that I've been around for 20, 30 years. I had no time to prep because I would say my downfall is that it's really, really hard to put your 100% into all of these when you also own a business. Rocked up, hadn't really prepared, and I walked away and I won it, which was crazy. Downside to this is you get paid late. You have to wait usually around 90 days to get paid. At the minute, I see this more of an in for the rest of these, but not something that I financially rely on massively. I would like to, and that's where I'd like to direct myself in 2026. Next, we've got the Academy, which is another 10 percentile for me. The Academy was my first recurring revenue that I put into place. For us, we started this off because we noticed that there was a lot of people that couldn't afford our services here. So the Academy is basically like masterclasses, training at £27 or £97 as a monthly subscription. At first we released this and it actually flopped. I thought this was going to be my way to make, lots of money on recurring revenue. So we went back to the drawing board and realized that we'd priced it too high. So it used to be just 97. We brought in another option at 27 where we didn't really reduce anything that we were offering. We just made it more accessible. And we now have this one as the most popular option. And then people will go in for 27 and then upgrade to 97. This is a really good thing to have when maybe this month is a little bit more quiet, this is a little bit more quiet, it ticks over, and it's also really great for building community as well. I think what I've learned from things like this is it seems really insignificant because it's £27, but it really does add up. So I like to see it more as one big client that I'm looking after, not loads of tiny little clients. So if people want something a little bit extra, it really goes a long way. So for us, it's been all about retaining people that are on this. This brings me on really nicely onto another one, which is digital products. So this one's on 10% as well. Scratch that, 5%. What we did here is we saw that there was a massive demand for the masterclasses that were in the Academy, but people have such a mental barrier about committing to something every single month. So we'd get loads of messages about, can we just buy the masterclasses? Some people don't want to be on a monthly subscription. So we took these masterclasses and literally put them into here and charged for them. Each one is £27. Essentially what the Academy is people that sort of want access to our brains and our services, but they can't afford the monthly fees that we have for our agency. So they'll come onto the Academy, and then if you want more support, you can go up to 97, which means every single week we are basically emailing trends over to you. We're telling you content ideas, and every day you get access to trending audios, trending hashtags, trending words, so that you find it really easy to implement those into your content. So it's just like a no-brainer thing that businesses have got on. Sometimes they'll get it for their various teams as well, and it just means that they have access to our viral brains. We've also become one of the first, to my knowledge, service-based businesses that have gone onto TikTok Live with doing this. TikTok Live, we noticed a massive gap in that everyone is obsessed with how easy it is to buy on TikTok Shop now. TikTok has massively blown up in 2025 for selling and for businesses, but we realized that there wasn't any space for service-based businesses. So we went onto TikTok Live, we warmed the audience up for a couple of months. We'd go on every Friday, answer questions, speak to our community, audit social media accounts. And then when we felt like we'd built up a really nice audience of people that kept coming back every week, we started started to introduce our masterclasses. I believe in the first month that we put these out, we made about 5K, which we weren't expecting at all. So that was a win for us. And now it just ticks over really nicely. We've done like bundle deals, which have been great. Then we did Black Friday recently. We made 2K just on the masterclasses, which was brilliant. And essentially it just gives people a really easy buy-in into our business. And we've found that a lot of these people convert to working with us as clients just from getting a masterclass. This actually hasn't cost us a penny to do. We literally take the masterclasses that I record monthly from the academy, get the recordings, put them on the website so that people can buy the different topics that we've spoken about. And there's something there for everyone. So if you want to grow your personal brand, if you want to learn how to go viral on Instagram, TikTok, it's there for you and it's great. And then people will watch it, realize how amazing we are, and then they want to work with us as a client. So it's a really, really easy way to get people through the door to work with us. We've been learning all about different buzzwords that you can and can't say on TikTok. So apparently you can't like drink anything other than water on there. You can't wear designer gear on there. So that's been really interesting for us. But I have a really, really good feeling about this in the new year. And I feel like it's something we really want to heavily focus on and just have set team members to purely just focus on this for us. There's obviously other streaming platforms. There's YouTube, Twitch that we've looked at. And I think that the one thing that's drawn us to TikTok is because we've grown such a big presence on there anyway. But I do think if you're trying to sell digital products, just give it a go on either of them. You'd be really, really surprised. I didn't think we were going to make a penny from this. We have people that sit and watch our lives we did one the other day, 11 till 3 p.m. And there was the set core people that watched the entire thing the whole way through. So people love that authenticity and that connection. It makes it really easy to sell to people as well. We've done all of these as digital. Like we went through a phase where we really desperately wanted to be on TikTok Shop because we felt like we were really missing out. So we researched different products we could bring out. We were going to bring out like a virality bundle and put different, tech equipment in it and chargers and headphones and microphones. But to us, it just felt a little bit off-brand. Like it was just like really cheap products. We ended up going with service. One of the cons, I would say, of TikTok Live is that we've noticed sales do better when I'm on it because, like I said, it links back to the personal brand. People know, like, and trust you. It makes it easier to sell. We've struggled a little bit more when I'm not on it and other team members are doing it, so that's just for me to train them up on. But it has really made me think how important it is to disconnect everything. You want them to mush together, you want them to flow together, but you can't just be reliant on one of these. Last income stream we're going to go into, which I would say this tags along with me, I wouldn't say it's too much on digital products, is consulting. So this makes 5% of the brand. Like everything else we've discussed today, it all links with each other. So this 5% links to the agency here. So I might connect these two. So what we do with consulting is we realize that corporate and the bigger brands, they have social teams. They don't need us to do the management for them, but they might need some of the virality, the brains, the knowledge behind trends, what's going on. So it's essentially going into these corporates, speaking about trends, strategy, giving that refresh, but similar to speaking, it's about who you know, sort of not what you know. So when you get booked by one, you usually get booked by others. You can usually retain those big corporate clients. Similar to speaking, it can be a 90-day pay, which isn't great. However, this is great for the agency because we get credibility, which is lovely. Essentially what this looks like is we will either do this over Zoom or we'll go in person. We'll work with the teams and it's much more collaborative and engaging than just this speaking here. So this speaking is like speaking on stages in front of hundreds of people. This one's a little bit more intimate with like teams of like 5 to 10. We'll speak with them, we'll put in place a plan for them to follow, and then we'll also give them support over the next 30 days. And again, this has got great pay, but it is very, very hard to get into. So these big corporate brands, they usually have like go-to agencies. When you're a little agency and you're still trying to build, it's near impossible to get into. But we are just breaking in now, getting our viral knowledge onto people. One of my favorite brands that we've done was with Sky. So we went in, and I think that was a team of about 10 to 15 people. We work with them. Sometimes it'll be a one-off, sometimes it'll be over a couple of weeks. Sometimes brands even like to use us monthly, and we just go in, we educate them on what's working, what's trending, and these big viral strategies that we can help them put into place, and we keep them accountable as well, because I think social media has changed so much over the past even like 5 years. So we're just the ones that keep them up to date with how it all works. This as well does have its downsides. I think when people book for this, they always expect me to show up. So usually I'll be the one that does this. I'll bring some of the team with me. So it's great, but then it also means that we have limited availability for it. And it's definitely an area in which we want to train other members of the team to do. One thing I would say about doing consultancy work is we always have to make sure that we get some sort of feedback, testimonial, because we're like the silent superheroes behind these projects. So sometimes brands will give us some credibility behind it. Sometimes they'll just run with it and get these amazing results. We want to really make sure that we can showcase that, because like loads of these, the more you do, like the more big brands you work with, the more big brands that you attract. So I would say we always make sure that we get some testimonials while we're there. We'll email them, we'll keep in contact with them. And then it's also great for long-lasting work as well, so we can work with them monthly or quarterly as well. So that's where we're at right now. If we talk about future, where I want to go with it, how I want to make this bigger and better, agency side, we want less clients, more pay. Who doesn't want that? We basically just want to work with people that we feel passionately about, we get views for, we bring value to them, and that we enjoy working with. Then we think about the academy. I just want to do a massive rebrand. So I just think this could be a much bigger chunk of our revenue. So that's going to be a massive focus in 2026. Personal brand, we're going to do 500K followers by the end of 2026, and also just be more strategic with what content I put out so that I can align with the right brands and ultimately ramp up the revenue on this side. Speaking next year, I want to sign with a speaker agent, because that was the best thing that I did for my personal brand, and I think it's just going to be an easy, sure way to get more speaking booked in. Digital products, I want to have this as its own entity in 2026. So I want to be doing more TikTok lives. I want to have different members of my team operating this every single day as a full-time job and just bringing in more cash. Consultancy, I think, again, was going to come under getting a consultant agent, working with more of these brands, being connected to people that have these connections. I think what we do is great at the minute. I don't really know how much more I can improve it. I think it's just knowing the right people. I'm going to put an agent in here, would be absolutely lovely. Last thing I feel like I want to touch on more in 2026 is bringing in revenue for my podcast, because we're at 100,000 listeners on there. So it'll be looking for a sponsor, monetization, and making that its own business in itself. So if you want to listen now, it's business class on all streaming platforms. I also want to hire someone who is a lot better than me at my job. So I want to put big girl hire. I want to hire someone that's either a team leader, an exec, someone that just has a wealth of knowledge and experience in this area so that I can go off and explore all of these other opportunities. At the end of the day, time is money, so we've got to be efficient. Personal brand as well, I also really want to break into YouTube, go back to my roots, you know? It's really easy to grow on YouTube Shorts at the minute, and I think it's just that extra level of being authentic and connecting with your audience. I'm Vicky Owens, and this has been my business plan.